This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where all my friends and I get together and we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month, you gain access to not one, but two entire podcasts. $5 gets you Takeout, a monthly commentary track where Ben and myself, and sometimes our friends, decide we don't feel like playing anything, so we just watch something and talk over it instead. And $2 is the grab bag tier. It's everything else that isn't Takeout. Any bonus content that is not Takeout is the grab bag tier. That's the only way to describe it. I've given up on finding another explanation.
Pathetic Fools, There's No Escape for Saturn. I think that would be fun.
If for some reason hearing us 3 times or 4 times a month is not enough for you.
That's correct.
For the low cost of $2 to $5 per month, you can hear even more of us.
That's right. And don't you love hearing us and our beautiful voices?
I should hope so. Otherwise, why are you here?
That's right.
Our most recent Takeout is one of my favorites. One of the best we've ever done.
Absolutely brutal.
Here's the thing.
I'm gonna kill Ben with a knife.
Here's the thing. Was it bad? Yes. However, I loved the experience.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Yes. However, no, there's no other anything else with that statement.
No, but I had a lot of fun.
And that's what really matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's truly, isn't the Turkish Star Wars the friends we made along the way?
No, it demonstrably isn't. That's the whole point of that film.
My experience with Turkish Star Wars, at least, was that it was the friends I made along the way, because if I had to watch that by myself, God help me.
That's right. Thank you, Saturn.
However, it was a barrel of monkeys.
That's true. All of this and more at patreon.com/thegorge.
So who wants to go first?
I'll go first this time, because I don't really have a whole lot to talk about, and I feel like it's a good segue. Vis-a-vis our discussions about Turkish Star Wars, is that I've mostly been rewatching Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah!
Which I watched live as it came out in 2017 and haven't rewatched since. And I think it's a weird thing where, like, I don't think knowing in advance is really changing, like, my enjoyment of it relative to how I felt about it at the time. Mm-hmm. But I'm also realizing that much like Turkish Star Wars, part of the fun for me is seeing just an incomprehensible, drawn-out scene and going, I have no idea what the purpose of this is. But it's mystifying. Correct. I enjoy it.
Twin Peaks: The Return truly is mystifying. I've watched up to season or episode 6 now.
I have watched to the same point so far.
Okay.
In the rewatch.
It is definitely mystifying. I will say that. We'll talk about it more when I talk about my stuff. But, like, I guess I should say I finished the first 2 seasons of the original Twin Peaks and watched the movie Fire Walk with Me and have watched The Return up to episode 6. The last 4 episodes, so, like, we've talked before about how bad the middle 8 episodes of Twin Peaks Season 2 are. They're really bad. Like, they're really, like, there was a point at, like, episode, I want to say 17, where I was thinking, like, my friends lied to me. Like, everybody I know just lied to me about this show. Right?
You had the Umineko moment.
I had that Umineko moment again, absolutely, where I'm just sitting there like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Because, like, oh, go ahead.
Those middle 8 episodes are genuinely a harder watch for me than the first 2 seasons of The Next Generation, honestly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I wish I had thought to go outline well, I mean, on one hand, I'm a fan of people watching an entirety of a thing. Sure. Because it's like, you have to know, right?
Absolutely.
Right. But also, that middle 8 episodes is like, it's the Metal Gear portable ops of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Where not only is it bad, even though it's technically canon, nothing ever references anything that happens in it ever again in any of the content.
It's completely
so bad.
Nor is any of it relevant to the end of season 2, for that matter.
Yeah.
No.
Is it good? No. But is it important? Also no.
Also
it isn't extremely skippable. You could shorten your watching experience considerably.
However, you do still need some of it to understand the last 4 episodes of Twin Peaks season 2, which are in fact peak TV. Like,
Extremely.
Devastated to report that the last 4 episodes of Twin Peaks season 2 are peak TV. They're really good. The final season of Twin Peaks season 2 is both extremely good, and now that I know that Twin Peaks was gone for 25 years after that, like, it had a movie, but it was a prequel, right? Now that I know that Twin Peaks season 2 ended the way it does, I now know why it drove literally everybody on the planet insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Right?
And also, I did find out recently, by the way, because I was interested I know Lynch and Frost wrote more or less all of Twin Peaks, but I was like, how much of the original series of Twin Peaks did Lynch direct? Because, like, Twin Peaks The Return is all directed by him, and it's very different in its construction, right?
Absolutely.
He directed 4 episodes total. The first 2... actually, no, it was 5, because it was the first 2. It was episode 8, which was the finale of the first season, which had a bunch of weird shit in it.
Sure.
It was the episode where you find out who did it. Which was, I think was like 14. And it was the very last episode, and that's it.
That makes sense. I knew for a fact when David Lynch had come back as a writer, and this is not too spoilery, so I can say this, because I know Ben wants to eventually watch Twin Peaks. It's not too spoilery to say. There is a moment in the back half of Twin Peaks season 2 where it shows Bob's arm coming out of the darkness, right?
Right.
In the middle of the woods. And that was the, like, exact moment I knew, like, oh, Lynch is back. Okay, we're good again.
It's like a Sam Raimi Wonder shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see his hand penning something into the script for the episode.
Sure. Because, like, and this is the thing that really gets me, and why Twin Peaks, and kind of why I haven't warmed to The Return just yet. Because to me, Twin Peaks is at its best when it is, like, really kind of standing on the edge of, like, normal soap opera horse shit and some of the most horrifying things you've ever seen in your life, right? Like, that is when Twin Peaks is, like, perfection. And that's what the last 4 episodes of season 2 are, like, really good at. And of course, obviously, everything in the first season and that first 8-ish episodes of the second season, right? Perfect in, like, every single way, because it is about the intersection of mundanity and horror, right? And, like, that is when Twin Peaks is really good. And the problem with that middle 8 episodes of season 2 is that it's just about the soap opera mundanity, right?
Yeah, there's 100%.
Yeah, there's
like,
nothing scary or weird.
Like, Mark Frost is a very accomplished, like, serial TV, like, writer and director before this. Sure. And that is very much him going, oh, fuck, I need to activate earning my paycheck mode for a couple episodes here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I know that Mark Frost is a good writer, and he basically had to take what was presented with him in Twin Peaks, which is the character drama, and kind of had to just roll with it. And that's why those middle 8 episodes are so soap opera-y. Because Twin Peaks is that intersection of soap opera and horror, right? And he could only do the soap opera shit, even though that's really not even his bread and butter either. So that's why those 8 episodes are so bad. And that's why those last 4 episodes are really good. It's because we're doing the soap opera shit, but we're also bringing back the horror shit. And unfortunately, that's why The Return, so far, I'm not gelling with it. Like, the first 4 episodes are really good, but 5 and 6, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And it's because there's no soap opera shit.
And I will say that's a thing where it's like, I don't think there's ever going to be a point in the series where you get as much soap opera shit as they had in the original, because that's like, even though Mark Frost is still doing a lot of writing on this one, it's not like David Lynch's director style isn't really simpatico with it, if that makes any sense. Like,
his, like, evolved new version of the director style. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because, like, that's also, again, like, that's just how he makes, like, his movies, where it's a thing where it's like, he just doesn't really like to do Like, he doesn't like to have character dialogue in a weird way. And, like, it's one of those things, like, I don't think it's, like, a positive or negative so much as, like, it's really hard to do a soap opera when the guy who's calling most of the shots here doesn't do things that are very simpatico with doing a soap opera.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, if I can offer any encouragement at all, it's that you are on the cusp of, in the next, like, 2 or 3 episodes, what is categorically maybe the most insane episode of a TV show ever filmed.
Okay, good. I'm really looking forward to it because, like, there have been things in The Return that have been really, really good, right? Like,
I've been having more fun with the rewatch than I expected to.
Yeah, no, there's things in it that are really good. And, like, but the funny thing is, I guess because I am the way I am, and when I was in high school, I really liked Law and Order. I love that police procedural shit. Even though I know ACAB and all that shit, I love a good police procedural, right? And
it's cool to see a cast of weirdos doing, like, coordinated problem solving.
Absolutely. And when Twin Peaks is doing that kind of thing, mostly what I'm saying is when Albert and Gordon are on the screen, I'm like, if they're not on the screen, I'm like, where are Albert and Gordon?
Well, also,
there's so many good Albert scenes in the last couple episodes we watched.
Oh, I'm so excited! Yeah. Okay.
As Law and Order and Twin Peaks have also, like, proved to us, if Kyle MacLachlan is in a police procedural, he does great shit.
Absolutely, I love Kyle MacLachlan. Is, like, for one, he's aged beautifully.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. That dude looks great for, like, being, like, I think he's 60 when they're filming
this. He's, like, 65 now.
Yeah, he's 65 now, and, like, he's
like 60 when they were filming The Return. He looks great. He just hasn't aged a day. Like, how to put this, the other Cooper, to put that kind of vaguely for Ben, looks awful, but he's supposed to look awful, right? He's very greasy and looks very old and disgusting.
He looks like a guy who does a lot of workout in the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like, our beloved Dale Cooper, he just looks like he hasn't aged a day. It's really weird, honestly.
He looked like he went from, like, 30 to 35 and starting to feel it.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
He went from looking like a crisp, clean 30-year-old to a 35-year-old who smokes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
By the way, that's the other thing I have to bring up, because the last episode of Twin Peaks season 2 says it. Nadine is 35 years old?
Yeah, she is.
Boy, smoking does a fucking number. Don't smoke, kids.
No, no.
The thing I've taken away more than anything from Twin Peaks is don't smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Don't smoke.
You look like Nadine when you're 35.
When you're 35. Now, I will say, in The Return, Nadine looks great. It looks like she stopped smoking, so she stopped aging. Right?
Yeah, but she still looks like Nadine. It's just
she still looks like Nadine, exactly. But, like, no, in season 2, you realize that Nadine is 30. So that means that Ed and Norma are also, and Norma looks great for 35.
It's insane to see Norma and Shelley in the same shot and go, they look like they could be sisters. Because their actors are probably closer in age than their characters are.
Oh, yeah, it's so weird. And, by the way, Shelley, her actress, is Betty Cooper's mom from Riverdale.
Oh, is she?
She is.
Okay,
that's so fucking me up, because
much.
I've watched the first 2 seasons of Riverdale.
Yeah.
Riverdale's a show that I refuse to watch, not because I have any issues with it, but because I am committed to my only knowledge of Riverdale being secondhand, because it's so much more mystifying.
Oh, it's so much funnier that way now.
So smart, absolutely. Like, you should absolutely do that. However, Riverdale is insane, and I kind of love it.
It's so good, though. I want to watch more of it with Sarah if I ever visit her again.
Please do. Riverdale sucks, and I watched the first 2 seasons of Riverdale, and I hated Betty Cooper's mom. Like, Alice, her name is Alice Cooper, which is really funny. And so, like, she's awful, which is very funny because I love Shelley. Like, I think Shelley should kill Bobby Briggs with a hammer.
It's tremendous that she managed to avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, if the season had ended, there's a lot of like season 3 stingers at the end of season 2 that just don't go anywhere because the show got canceled for 25 years. There's a lot of season 3 stingers at the end of season 2. If one of them had been Shelley finally kills Bobby Briggs with a hammer, I would have been like, yeah, good for her. Good for her. Good for her. Yeah, absolutely. We love a queen. Absolutely.
Because, again, this is really all I have to talk about because my video games have just been Warframe and Fortnite.
Sure.
You know,
as you do.
In a brief aside to talk about that, just very brief. There's a Nike Air collaboration in Fortnite with a really great character skin that I saw and felt instant gender euphoria. So of course I own it now.
That's
because Fortnite is a cancer and dangerous to simple things like Sara. But speaking of aging gracefully, it fucks me up that the couple scenes we get of Jacoby, he's like 80. He's like in his 80s when that's being filmed.
He's in his 80s in Twin Peaks: The Return. He looks great.
Yeah, he's 89. He's older than David Lynch is, and in fucking in Twin Peaks: The Return, he's like fucking going on a hollering monologue with spit and vinegar. I would have sworn he's 20 or 30 years younger than he actually is.
He looks great, and he acts like nothing is wrong, and it's just like he acts like he's not old.
I did not
good for
realize
you.
he was one of the
Well, it's so
oldest character, like the oldest actors in the ensemble.
There's also other fun things there. There's a I'm not going to get into spoilers, but I'm just going to talk about fun casting stuff with it that I like. The actor for Sheriff Truman elected not to come back for the return for one reason or another, and so they replaced his character, not recast him, but they got a replacement character for him who's his brother, who's another Sheriff Truman, and they got the guy to play him. Is the guy who was originally cast to play Sheriff Truman before they ended up replacing him with the guy that they used.
Yeah, I remember that casting gag in 2017, and everyone was particularly tickled by it.
It's very funny. They also, I guess I don't want, but I have mentioned this though because it's like compared to a lot of the people who do come back, like in like some of the cameos we get, a lot of people are very sick and old and tired because they were already old when Twin Peaks was filming originally, and now it's been 25 years.
Right.
There's a one brief cameo we get from someone who Sara hasn't seen yet, but it's like they literally had to have that guy zoom in, like Skype in, because they could not get him for filming. Period.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know there's also like the extremely obvious one, which is David Bowie's character. So from Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah, but he's not even the only one either. There's a guy who was played by Jack Nance.
Right.
They had to write him to be dead because he died. Bob's actor died.
Man, it's crazy. It sucks that Bob's actor died because, like,
yeah,
God, he's so, you know.
Yeah, he's really good. Also, unrelated to sickness or injury, the guy who played, also like. There's some other ones, like the actor for Rosenfeld, actually, only a couple years after The Returns aired, he passed as well. But there's at least one instance, though, where, and this is not, like, you're not going to see the little guy in the red suit in this. They kind of, I think, you remember the weird-looking, like, neuron-looking thing in the Red Room?
Yeah.
They kind of have that as the replacement for him. That guy's actor didn't come back because he basically went on a like paranoid schizophrenic Facebook rant and accused David Lynch of being a pedophile.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they're like, yeah, we're not bringing him back.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, this is a change they had to make because other things can happen in 25 years and there's people getting sick and dying. They might also go insane.
They might also just go categorically insane. Yeah. That's the thing about waiting 25 years to do. And the funny thing is that the I'll see you in 25 years line is set up in the first season before they knew they were going to get canned, right? And so it's really funny that they're like, they put that little thread in there, I'll see you in 25 years. Not quite realizing how long 25 years actually is.
Yeah.
It's strange because it's like, it's a very, I will say, it's at least very perfect for a Lynch show.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Right, for a Lynch art project.
Absolutely.
To go, I am going to put in a bit here that is probably just like spooky dream writing, because that's just what like his MO is, and that's what Mark Frost has tried to play off of when he writes stuff. It's just that David Lynch likes to kind of do, basically just try and recreate what it's like to be in a dream. Right?
Esoteric and arbitrary stuff like Ghosts and Dogs.
And it's just a very poignant, spooky, arbitrary, mysterious line that someone would say to you in a weird waking nightmare that like sticks with you for like the rest of your life.
I'll see you in 25 years, yeah.
And it became prophetic.
Absolutely. And I do like that. I am enjoying the experience, even if I'm not necessarily really enjoying the return right now. And I didn't enjoy the middle section of Twin Peaks. I am enjoying, at the very least, the experience of going through the stuff of Twin Peaks that I didn't watch when I was a teenager. Because when I watched as a teenager, I did stop watching during the bad section of season 2, right?
Understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because by then the mystery had been solved, and now it just felt like we're spinning our wheels so I could drop the show, which I did.
Thanks, Bob Iger.
Thanks, Bob Iger. But I am enjoying going through all of it again and really kind of getting into it. And I don't know, there are parts of it that I don't gel with, but there are parts of it that I really, really vibe with. And there are some images in the original series and in Fire Walk With Me and in The Return that are just going to probably stick in my brain until I die. Fire Walk With Me is probably one of the most unpleasant movie watching experiences I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I loved it, mind you.
Oh yeah.
But it is viscerally unpleasant to watch, and Laura Palmer as a character is so like there's just so much going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like what an absolutely, and then like a really good representation of what it feels like to be a fucked up teenage girl, and to like to be such a fucked up teenage girl that you have to pursue all of your worst impulses to try and like feel anything, and it's brutal. There's just so much in it that like it's genuinely hard to watch. Like Fire Walk With Me is like a hard watch, but it also is like it's weird and it's scary and it's fascinating. It's so scary. There are so many parts in the beginning of that movie that are like, even through the middle parts of the movie, they're so scary. And like David Lynch does not trade in jump scares at all.
No.
But like his MO of this unsettling weirdness, this off-putting atmosphere is so potent that there are moments in that movie that are just like, they're like terrifying. And we talked about it a little bit when we talked about the bit of, again, keeping it vague for Ben, of Sarah Palmer crawling down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And there are these little moments like that throughout the whole series and in Fire Walk With Me they're just so off-putting. And it's really kind of hard to even put into words, but it's like it is the feeling of a nightmare. It's the feeling of like when you are a little kid and you're in the basement, for example. I know you live in Florida, Saturn. You don't know what it's like to be in a basement, but you know.
I've been in a basement. Well, actually, no. Not in Florida. I was like, I've been in a basement, and I was thinking of the person's house I've been to that has a basement, and I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, I actually didn't go in their basement.
Yeah, no, but it's the feeling of like, I had a basement when I was a kid, and it's the feeling of having to go to bed at night. You're down in the basement because it's where you play your video games, and it's where you hang out. and you have to turn off all the lights before you go upstairs. And then when the lights are off in the basement, you just realize, like, how dark and spooky it is down there, right?
There could be a Bob waiting somewhere.
There could be a Bob waiting down there somewhere. And that's what David Lynch, like, trades in, is that feeling of the small town you know and love being your enemy at the same time, right?
Sarah,
it's so good.
Sarah, I have a wonderful anime for you. It's called Maiden. It's called Maiden Abyss.
It's on the list. I definitely am going to watch Maiden Abyss at some point because I know it's really good. And I love a good horror anime.
If you like the rest of season 3, like The Return, I got a great anime for you.
Sure. Absolutely. I know that one's really good too. So, yeah. I didn't mean to take over what you've been doing, Saturn, but I really wanted to talk about Twin Peaks some more.
No,
it's okay. We're getting it out of our system, at least.
I gotta get it out of my system somehow. It's really good, is what I'm saying.
That's really all I've been doing. What I'll leave it on is, Sarah, I can't promise you that you'll like Twin Peaks: The Return. I like it but I'm also a little bit of an insane person. I think Jay Bauman and Jack Packard both like it, but they're also both insane people.
Also insane people, yeah.
But what I will say is, at the very least, you will come away with it with the horrible pain in your heart of knowing whether you liked it or not. No, not even that. Not even that it's the end.
Oh, really?
Not to say anything, right? But less that and more, no one, for better or worse, is ever going to make TV like this again.
Oh, absolutely. That's already what I feel. God, you can't say that. You're right. Because that's already what I feel about the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
like, make shit like that anymore.
However you feel about Twin Peaks, here, I'll actually tell you the thing, because this is funny to me. The thing that made me stop listening to the opinions of Matt McMuscles, which is, he hates The Return with a fucking burning fervor, and called it at one point on the podcast TV for people who smell their own farts. And I was like, oh good, I never have to listen to your opinions.
Absolutely, no, Matt McMuscles has terrible opinions just in general, but that absolutely solidifies. Even if I feel like kind of on the fence about The Return right now, there are things, because, like, especially with a certain plot point that I mentioned kind of in passing in the Discord. Join our Discord, by the way. Even with, like, my iffiness about that plot point, everything kind of surrounding it. Honestly, my biggest problem with The Return is that plot point with Cooper won't resolve itself sooner, right?
Yeah, you are going to be with it for most of the season, but it will resolve. It will resolve before the season ends.
Okay, that's good.
But you are going to be stuck with it for a long time.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that I'm not a huge fan of that, mostly because I don't like. It's kind of a secondhand embarrassment type of writing.
I will say, for what it's worth, I don't think this is a thing where I don't think me knowing what's going to happen ahead of time influences my enjoyment of the scenes that much.
Sure.
But I kind of get some of what Lynch and Frost are going for with those scenes. And frankly, I enjoy the hell out of them. I have really bad secondhand embarrassment stuff, and I just fucking love these scenes to bits.
Okay, well, with different strokes for different folks. But everything else surrounding that in Twin Peaks: The Return, I actually really like, so it's okay.
Yay.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting. I like it a lot. I'll probably be done with it by the next time we record an episode, because I know we're off next week. So the next time we record an episode, I will have probably finished Twin Peaks: The Return, and I'll be able to speak about it at length.
I can say for free. I can say for free to wrap up my thing, because oh my god, we've incorporated Twin Peaks discussion.
Oh god, it's gotten very long. The problem is that Twin Peaks contains multitudes.
Yeah, let's probably not do too much extra on that later, but I guess for us not being here all night. After we're done recording, though, I'm going to go back and watch 2 more episodes tonight. I'm going to get to my favorite episode tonight, I think.
Okay,
and if I do, I'll be really happy.
Good, how nice. Sorry, Ben. I know you can't contribute to this conversation very much. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, am I allowed to talk now?
Oh, Ben.
Sorry.
This is what happens every time you all get together and you talk about Umineko or Fate or Twin Peaks, in which I just can't contribute.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. They do this all the time with Fate chat too.
I know.
Ben, here's my tip. Because I frequently encounter this when you people talk about like Teenage Mutant the Ninja Turtles or most Transformers.
Yeah, but the thing
is you just quip whenever something comes to your mind, whether it's accurate or irrelevant or at all.
No, but I can't even do that because
You can't even keep up.
with Transformers and Ninja Turtles, it's hey, there's 4 turtles who ain't after Renaissance artists. They fight a guy named Shredder. Okay, you can make jokes about that.
Sara apparently knows that.
Like it's not a complicated concept, unlike Twin Peaks or fucking Umineko. Where you're yeah, watch out for Bob, and I'm like, that gives me nothing.
Gives you nothing. Well, then here's the thing. You said you wanted to do Twin Peaks.
They should do an edit of Twin Peaks where everything is exactly the same, but all instances of Bob have been replaced by superimposed cut-ins of Bob video games from Gigaboots. Identical tone and scenes and everything, but it's just him superimposed over Bob.
Listen, Ben, the thing is, you said you want to do Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to.
That's why we're keeping things like as vague as fucking possible, right? When you do Twin Peaks, this will happen again. It's happening again. Okay? It will happen again, where we will happily just be like, oh, Ben's watching Twin Peaks? Here, let us absolutely dump on talk about Twin Peaks themes with him. Right?
And plus, here's the thing. It's free content. Sarah, whenever you're done with Twin Peaks, we can do a smaller gorge. That's the Twin Peaks Gorge. And then whenever Ben does it, we can do it again, but we can call it Twin Peaks Gorge The Missing Pieces.
Why would you
Twin
do
Peaks
that?
Gorge The Return.
Why would you do that?
What we'll do is that when I'm finished with The Return, we'll do an episode. Like me and Saturn and Oates will do an episode. And then when Ben is done with Twin Peaks, we'll do a whole episode, all 4 of us. And that one, like the first one will be on the Patreon because that's what we do, right? The second one will be on the main channel and we'll call it The Return.
There you go.
I'll disappear about halfway into the episode and nobody will comment on it.
Oates, have you done anything?
Yeah, please. We have to move on.
So it's been like a month, so a lot of things have happened. I'm currently in sunny California.
Oh, how nice.
Taking care of family. Grandfather had a stroke, so
Sure.
a lot of things have happened there. Otherwise, I don't really have a whole lot to say. Since I'm in the middle of moving, I literally only have a Switch on me, and I've learned and discovered, to my horror and delight, that you can play Warframe on it just fine. So that's
That's good for Warframe, at least.
Well,
yeah.
It turns out that when your studio is run principally by people who were partly responsible for developing Unreal Engine,
that's right.
You can just do like insane tech wizard shit to like make your game run on a Switch and like not be that bad.
I'm actually really impressed. Yeah,
they pull some Tears of the Kingdom level like wizardry to make this work, but like in fairness, Warframe itself was developed back when like the PS3 was still new. So
yeah, this is still
also
PS3
like a game that it was still also though a game that not when the PS3 was new. It came out in 2013.
Yeah,
like, it was
you're
only
right.
ever launched on the PS4 and Xbone.
That's
and
right.
Then they did other stuff, but it's like it's still impressive that you took a PS4 game of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a like not extremely like a kind of big production value Western developed PS4 game that isn't like a low spec anime RPG, right?
Correct.
And are like, yeah, no, I can run this on a Switch.
So what you're saying is that we can run FF14 on the Switch.
I think the problem is FF14 would probably have a processor bottleneck like really bad.
I think the Switch 2 will be able to run FF14, and I hope that's what happens.
The Switch 2 will definitely be able to run FF14.
I don't think Switch 1 can, because they would have to make enough sacrifices that it would still be able to play as if it was running on the original PS3 engine. Because they stopped development on that and moved to different stuff, I think, during Shadowbring, or during Stormblood.
Yeah, the problem is, like, you would have a cutoff because there's, like, all the I think, like, all that content is really, like, you would have to have the PS3 cutoff, literally. I was just like, no, this only has, like, the first expansion or two.
The Switch can only play the free trial.
We could not run Shadowbringers on this if we tried.
Yeah.
Whatever the free trial allows is what Switch is allowed to run.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
But other than that, you know, moving again sometime in March, after family's doing a lot better now. So I'm, and frankly, the quicker I get out of here, the better. But that's a story for another time.
Okay. Well, I'll go quickly. I have a few, other than, of course...
You watched Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I watched Twin Peaks. Sorry, Ben. But instead I'll talk about a few other, two small things, okay? Because as we all know, Sarah loves indie horror video games, right?
Uh-huh.
So I also played Home Safety Hotline, which is currently available... Oh, go ahead.
I want to ask, was that before or after we did the short message?
This is after.
Okay, so you had to wash the taste of the short message out of your mouth.
Home Safety Hotline...
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Home Safety Hotline is a video game you can play in a night, and it is... it kind of speaks to, like, if you really like Local 58 and that kind of thing. It is part of the analog horror genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you play as somebody who works at a call center for the Home Safety Hotline, and that is like if somebody finds like they've got mold in their house, or leaky faucets, or there's a goblin living in your walls, you call the Home Safety Hotline to try and figure out how to fix it, right?
I'm glad that your example there of the weirdness was goblin, because my brain was also going to, or if there's like a goblin.
If there's a goblin, it is $15 on Steam, but obviously I got it on sale. But also just like it is worth it. I think it's a fun little, I would say, 2-hour experience. And it is it's a memory game. So basically the idea is you play as a receptionist, or as somebody who works at a call center for the Home Safety Hotline, and people call in and tell you like, hey, this thing is happening in my house and it's really weird. What do you think it is and how do I fix it? And as the game progresses, you unlock more and more entries in your like your encyclopedia of stuff it could be, right? Yeah, and it's really fun and really good. It's just because, like, it is a horror video game in quotation marks, but it's kind of that fun clinical horror where it's just your day job, right?
Right.
All right, right.
It's very SCP adjacent, right?
It's of the Papers, Please family of video games.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Where somebody calls in and tells you their problem. Yeah.
Like Her Story.
Yeah, totally. Where it's very, like, clinical and very simple, and you are just there to fix somebody's problems, basically. But the fun thing is, for me, is that it's not just like really scary shit. It's also just like fun face shit as well, right? Like, it's not just, oh, you've got a Babadook living in your walls, right?
Right.
Like, you've also got fae and goblins and spriggans and all kind of stuff that is totally solvable. But there are also things where it's like, oh, like somebody calls in and says, hey, there's like a weird tree growing in my shed, and I think there are these hooligans who are also banging around in my shed and like messing with things, right? What do I do? And then you read about it and you realize like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Your son has turned into a tree and there's no cure. He's just dead. Right?
Oh.
Yeah, that kind of a thing where it's like, it's kind of that fun, subtle horror. And of course, the fun thing is if you fuck up, if you tell them the wrong thing, they call back within a couple hours and the next day and they're like, oh my god, my ghoulies are being eaten by a monster, right? And like, that's the fun horror in it. So I enjoyed it a lot. I actually really liked Home Safety Hotline. I'm not going to say more than that. Other than the fact that if you beat the game, the creator gives you a fun little like document of the making of Home Safety Hotline, which is really fun. Yeah, like explaining their thought process behind all of the monsters and stuff like that. And one of the things that drove me fucking insane is the guy that made this video game worked at Evermore Park. The fucking... there's a Jenny Nicholson video about Evermore Park.
Oh.
About the fucking, like, basically the year-long Renaissance fair that people could go to, where it was, like, a theme park where it was, like, fantasy themed and you interacted with characters and shit at Evermore Park. The guy who made that game worked there. And then he got laid off when that park shut down. And, like... it's what kind of made him want to keep making like a Fae-themed video game. And it's awesome. Like, and you can totally tell in the types of monsters that are in the game, because it's a lot of Fae and goblins and things like that. Super recommend. I think it's really worth it. There's a demo on itch.io if you want to give it a shot. And yeah, I totally recommend it.
I'm going to add that to my wish list because that sounds like something we can play for content.
Yes, please do. I'll have to do it without telling you the solutions because I think the solutions are the same every time.
Right.
But it's really fun. It's just like good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got this discoloration on my ceiling. Do you have an attic? If you don't have an attic, it's water damage. If you do have an attic, you might have a feral druid infestation.
That's about exactly what they're talking about, yeah.
You may or may not have your evil doppelganger locked up in there since birth.
Do you have any portraits of yourself that might happen to be covered behind a blanket or something in the attic?
That sounds like brownies, sir. No, not the kind you eat, sir.
No, sir.
Elf.
Just the monster, yeah.
Weed is still the answer, however.
So we were like, the way our house is laid out, like our bedrooms and our loft upstairs, like there's like a tree that keeps scraping up against the window whenever it's like windy in a very specific way. No. And we're laying there and we're hearing that and we're like, because it happens so rarely that you forget about it until it happens again. And we're just laying there and I'm like, okay, I know it's outside. I know that it's just like something outdoors. There's nothing in there. But there may be a man inside our attic.
Yeah.
The man.
Like, just that, you know those stories about, like, oh yeah, there was a guy living in someone's house, like, in the walls for years, and, like, eating all their food whenever they went out to work? It's like, what if there is a man in our attic?
The man. What if there's a man inside my ASMR microphone?
So I totally understand that. Yeah, okay, so I'll go. I beat Infinite Wealth.
Yeah.
You did it.
I did it.
How'd that go?
A finite amount of wealth, perhaps.
I should say I hit credits on Infinite Wealth.
Oh, I see.
I'm not done with Infinite Wealth.
I see.
There's still more Infinite Wealth to play.
There might even be infinite of it.
I've got, so the game splits up into two groups, like the midpoint where you play as Kiryu's group in Yokohama and you play as Ichiban's group in Hawaii. And you switch back and forth every chapter of which party you're focusing on.
Right.
So, and they each kind of have their equivalent of side quests. I talked about this before, how like Ichiban has the standard sub-stories where you meet a wacky guy and you get involved in some shenanigans and then you learn a life lesson. And Kiryu's is all about, hey, remember that thing that happened in Yakuza 4?
Right?
Well, no, Kiryu, I don't. You remember.
Yeah, you remember? Remember this character from Yakuza 3?
You definitely played Yakuza 3, person who started playing Yakuza games at 7, right?
Did he ever talk about Rikia?
I don't know. I have no idea, because a lot of those names just went over my head.
He's a short guy, has a perm, tends to wear like loud Hawaiian shirts, has a viper on his back. He's really a feat for a Yakuza dude.
I don't think he's in this game.
Okay.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Okay.
No, I like Rikia. It's probably good that he's not, that I didn't bring him back for this.
Yeah.
So the thing is that so by the time I finished it, the only thing left to do now is do the DLC, the Big Swell.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But so you do the thing where once the game is over and you are on like the post game stuff, it's just the entire party. It's all 10 people.
Oh, good. Okay.
All together, and you can mix and match however you want, and the party leader is just dependent on whether you're in Hawaii or in Japan.
Okay.
But because of the way the party was split up so evenly, I was stuck with the unfortunate situation of Ichiban's party being on average 3 levels behind everyone else.
Okay.
You know that annoying thing?
Yeah, absolutely. The
Where
Persona
it's
4
like-
problem.
Where it's like, they don't have to be exactly matched up, but I want everyone to be at least like 1 level apart, and that's it.
Right.
So I went and did all of the Tartarus dungeons with Ichiban's party to get them caught up, and now I can go on and do the Big Swell.
Right.
That being said, it didn't hit me as hard as Yakuza 7's did. But fuck, man. Wow.
Is it good?
What a good video game Infinite Wealth is.
That's right.
Wow. Hey,
Seems
Kiryu's not going to be in the next one. Or if he is, it's not going to be in a big way.
Yeah, they've been kind of leading up to that for a while.
He's done. He's
That's probably
tired.
for the best.
He's like 62. He's out.
We'll see him as I know I've made the joke already, but I feel like we'll see him as a side quest NPC who is just completely bald.
He's gonna
Yeah.
Kiryu's gonna be in charge of like whatever the big money making thing is in Yakuza 9, like the company management thing in 7 or Dondoko Island in 8.
He retires peacefully and happily to become the new pocket circuit fighter.
That's
Young children had to play with hobby cards.
that's this Oats. One of the sub stories, one of the memoirs of a dragon, as they're called, for Kiryu, is him meeting the pocket circuit guy from Yakuza 0.
Yeah, no, he's met him a couple times before. He shows up in 6.
And he's like not the president, the new guy who's in charge of pocket circuit, the new one. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, my boss always talks about this guy named Kiryu who was so cool. And Kiryu's like, oh man,
Big shoes to fill.
and then like the cutscene ends, and like the new president, who was Kiryu's old friend from Yakuza 0, is like, I hope you're doing well out there, Kiryu. Maybe one day we'll race again.
And then the cry counter goes up.
And then the cry counter goes up.
That's yeah.
That's oh man. There's literally a scene where Kiryu is talking to Ichiban, and he's like, all right, I'll handle the Yakuza's past, and you ensure its future.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
It's a good line. I feel like it would work better, though, on a character who isn't also already in his 40s.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem. You can't do
Don't worry
that.
about it.
Ichiban started the Yakuza lifestyle like 10 years older than Kiryu was when he got inducted. And then he got put in jail and came out even older than Kiryu was when he got out of jail.
Listen, Ichiban has both the body and the mind of a 20-year-old man. So
he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
Ichiban is, I think he's getting that secret huge brain technique that some people do, where they just stopped counting their age years up while the COVID shit was happening.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, no, I get those 3 years.
Yeah, no, those are mine. They don't count.
You can't charge me for those.
It is funny because like so much about Infinite Wealth is like Kiryu's old and busted, and like he's got the gray hair now, and he's like, you think about the comparison from Yakuza 7, where when you fight Kiryu, the fight is so intense. The fight is so intense that Ichiban's mind breaks, and he perceives Kiryu as an actual dragon. And then in Infinite Wealth, like he's just like a party member, you know?
I have to ask, does Ichiban's delusions get funnier, or do they stay about the same as they do in 7?
They're about the same. Oh, it's the funniest part about it is when the party splits and Kiryu goes back to Japan and he's hanging out with Nanba and them, like with Nanba and Saiko, and you get into your first random battle and Kiryu starts seeing the delusions.
No,
and he's like,
that's the chemo talking.
Rubbing off on me.
No, sweetie, that's the chemo.
He's like, oh, I get it now. When you fight as a team, like now that I'm fighting with a group, I can see the way the world Ichiban sees the world. And Nanba's like, oh, okay, I guess that works.
Yeah, okay, man. I guess that's how that works.
Didn't
right?
you say that the story also explains why Ichiban sees people that way?
He just likes Dragon Quest.
Oh, okay. No, I thought I knew that much, but I thought you had made some statement to some effect that they had said more on that.
No, so the way it works is that in Yakuza 7, even before Ichiban gets arrested, he's like, dude, I love Dragon Quest so much that when I get into fist fights in the street, I just see it as turn-based. Like, I think in that way.
What a king.
Great.
And then he gets, whenever he gets fired up, that's when the delusions kick in and he starts seeing things as random battles.
Yeah. I
like
how he imagines himself with a scarf when the delusions kick in. He doesn't have one, he just imagines one.
But no, the funny thing is about how Kiryu is like old and busted and he's tired and he's like so done and everyone's tired. Adachi's older than Kiryu.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Adachi doesn't have cancer.
Yeah, but he's still like...
Adachi probably should have cancer.
Yeah.
Adachi drinks and smokes way more than Kiryu does.
Adachi has
Remember
Tommy
when
Lee
we were
Jones
like, man,
problem.
it's crazy that Jacoby is 81 when he's filming that or whatever. That's kind of the Adachi thing. Where
Yeah,
what do you mean he's the oldest person here?
Adachi has the Tommy Lee Jones thing where like he is 64 pushing like 85 and you can't really tell until he tells his age because he still looks like a hard 45 who's been drinking and smoking since he was 2.
There's a really funny bit that's kind of like meta where like because they only design like a handful of different body types, like Adachi now has a 6-pack. Right. Because in Yakuza 7 there's a one of the idle like chatter bits is Adachi saying he's gonna go on a diet because he's sick of having this beer gut.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So he actually did and like lost a ton of weight.
Lost a ton of weight, got a 6-pack. Good for him.
Go, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Stop praying for my grandpa. He is too strong.
It is funny. Like, Adachi is fucking jacked. He's huge.
He's got the kind of build I wouldn't be too surprised about that.
Yeah. He's got that old Japanese guy body where it's like, oh, you're actually like super ripped. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the body of a guy who has been a beat cop into his 60s on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like if Kiryu had fought Adachi in a previous game, it would have been a pretty close fight.
Right.
It would have been like some game where like he actually have to like square off with the police in a really significant way, and they send in Adachi.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I absolutely loved the game. There's so much about it that like ties directly into Yakuza 7 in a really interesting thematic way. There's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, oh, of course you'd frame it like that. Like, there's like the requisite bit where you fight the three Jimas, like Dojima, Daigos, Majima, and Saejima. In Yakuza 7, it's this big triumphant oh shit moment because Majima and Saejima are here to kick Ichiban and his crew's ass. And it's like, oh fuck, it's them. It's the fucking mad dog. Oh god, we're all gonna die. He's teleporting and spawning shadow clones.
My favorite part about those fights, by the way, is they use their original movesets from Yakuza 4 and, in Majima's case, Yakuza 0. They're only using their basic combos to beat your ass every time.
Yeah.
They don't even consider
I still remember seeing the fucking Majima's like legendary Mad Dog style fucking like full combos in Yakuza 0. That dude could kill God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think the time about that heat action move where he kills two guys and then kicks the knife out of one of them into another dude.
Goro Majima is the king of non-lethally stabbing someone through the heart.
Good for him.
But then you fight them in Infinite Wealth, and it's been like 4 years, and they're all tired, and they're all frustrated.
My baby.
And they're still gonna kick your ass, but like the fire isn't there anymore, right? Like it's way more of the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 slugfest. Like there's not like fanfare and kick-ass action techno music playing. It's a bunch of old guys who are all fucking pissed at each other, just kicking the shit out of each other because they don't have anything left to do.
It's a part where if you fuck up the QTE, he gives you a little kiss on the cheek.
I have to imagine that it will be like an epilogue of Naruto thing with Majima and Kiryu, where inexplicably, much like Kakashi and Might Guy, have just decided to actually just start living together with zero fanfare or anyone saying anything about it. Nominally for caretaker reasons, but obviously because they're in love and are married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if Kiryu and Majima started canonically living with each other, the week that happened would be one of the most insane weeks on Twitter, possibly ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. In universe and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no. It is funny, though, because, like, so you've got your drinklings, which are, like, your Persona social links with your party members, where Kiryu and Ichiban, like, do a little adventure story with each party member individually.
Sure.
Sunhee's is funny, because Sunhee's whole bit is, I need to fuck this old man before he dies.
Oh, word? What's up?
She's like the early, like, the first half of them, like, every little bit of flirting she does with Kiryu is like, I need to fuck him now, or I will not get the chance again.
Go her! Yeah, what's up?
Meanwhile, you get stuff like Tomizawa's, his whole thing is that before meeting Ichiban, he's working for a leader in the Hawaiian Yakuza. Mm-hmm. And he got in that situation because he was arrested for a crime he didn't commit, because he was set up to take the fall by the leader of the Barracudas, which is a super violent gang in Hawaii.
Sure.
While he was locked up, his pregnant fiance couldn't afford to keep a house down, and the stress caused her to miscarriage.
Right.
and she just was not there for him when he finally got out of prison.
Brutal.
So the entire drink link is about him knowing that she's back in Hawaii for a little bit and just being like, I just need to know she's okay. I don't want to get back together with her. That wouldn't be fair, you know? I don't want to try and get back into her life. I just need to know if she's okay.
Right.
Like, is she doing well? Is she like
okay? Like, is she physically and mentally all right?
Like, does she have a stable living situation? Like, is she recovering? That kind of thing. And it's just about him, like, trying to find ways to get details about her without actually knowing that he's trying to, like, look into her. Right. And then you go back to Japan and it's, I need to fuck this old man.
The most relatable of all characters in Yakuza.
Or you have stuff like Adachi's, who is like, yeah, so when I was back as a cop, there was this woman who reported her store was robbed, and we didn't really take it seriously, and she ended up losing the business as a result of it, and I've always felt really bad about that.
Sure.
And I've learned that she's open to business in Hawaii, and I want to go like check on her, and he finds out like, yeah, there's some, because you remember when we did the stream and they're like, the whole thing is that like Adachi hires guys to fake rob a store.
Yeah.
To see, like, because of that, he's gotten really good at seeing like shoplifters and stuff, and he's like, yeah, okay, so I went to go check on her store and she threw me out, but I did notice that there's some guys who were very clearly planning on robbing her place.
Right.
So how do I go and like warn her without like, you know, having her throw me out again because she obviously doesn't trust me anymore.
Right.
Meanwhile, back in Japan, Zhao's drink link is, oh man, this guy left a bad Yelp review on my restaurant, and now my former gangster goons want to go kick his ass, and I can't have them do that just because a guy gave me a bad review.
I love Zhao. He's so fucking cute.
I love Zhao is like the character I would play in the Yakuza TTRPG.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's like, oh, who's this insanely hot non-binary guy who's barely involved with the plot at all, but is still just here showing up to kick ass because, hey, why not?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's got nothing better to do. He's just doing his thing. He's like, yeah, whatever, I'll help Ichiban's friends. It's been a while since we all hung out.
The thing is, I think Zhao is that guy who makes the disgusting apartment food.
No, yeah.
Which I mean, the good food made in the disgusting apartment.
Right.
He takes really good care of himself. He makes really good, elegant-looking food. His apartment is definitely a hovel.
Oh yeah, for sure. The restaurant he owns, spotless, fucking clean as a whistle. His actual apartment, trash. We need more party members like Zhao and like Regal in Tales of Symphonia, where their motivation is got nothing better to do.
That's right.
So Vincent.
Yeah.
I'm so, folks, please look forward to the fucking Rebirth stream.
I'm so looking forward to it.
I'm just, God, what a fucking good Ichiban is now my second favorite video game protagonist of all time.
Oh, mood.
He's right underneath Sora.
Yeah.
The dude is great.
He's my little baby bird, and I don't want anything bad to happen to him. And I've never played a Yakuza game in my life.
I do want to spoil one thing about the ending, just to give the rest of us closure, because we all know how bad that date with Psycho was.
Oh,
yeah.
Please, I need it.
So there's a bit where everyone's back in Japan, like near the, like in the climax of the game, where like before everyone goes off to do the final dungeons, where it's the whole gang together, and Ichiban is seeing Psycho for the first time in a year, and he's talking to Kiryu like at night, and he's like, yeah, things have been rough because of some shit I did, and it's like, and Kiryu's like, yeah, I've been talking to Psycho about it, and you know, because her drink link is about this other guy who keeps trying to propose to her.
Right.
And so he's like, and so Kiryu keeps asking, like, well, you seem more against this than you were with Ichiban. I'm just making conversation here.
Right.
So Ichiban's like, hey man, you got any advice for me? And Kiryu's like, yeah, whenever when I proposed to a girl one time, all I said was I love you. And Ichiban goes, oh fuck. He's like, oh.
Take it. I see.
Oh, that's the thing. Shit. I didn't. Oh, damn it.
I'm so stupid.
So at the end of the game, it's everyone is in the bar and they are watching Ichiban try to work up the courage to talk to Saiko again. And he finally does just come out and say, I love you.
Good for him!
And it's very cute, and she is receptive to it. And then he's like, cool, I got a surprise for us both. And he rips off his jacket, and he's wearing a t-shirt that says, I love Saiko on it.
Oh my god!
And she walks away.
That's correct.
You can't take me on this coaster!
They have to give you, here's the thing. There has to be a sequel hook.
Yes!
Yeah.
And you can't do that, that's illegal!
I'm so glad to know that we'll get a Yakuza 9.
That's right!
And that it will still mostly be about Ichiban Kasuga trying to find a way to make his true love work. Despite his own worst instincts getting in the way.
Oh. I'm just imagining him, like, deliberately setting up a kiss cam while they're watching a baseball game. And they do it after she has already left so she can go to the bathroom.
You have to be nice to my man!
So she doesn't even know and he's still disappointed in the date.
You have to be nice to Ichiban!
No. He's in a Yakuza game. That's just how life works.
I think the two things that you can do in Yakuza 9 is you just have them be together and no one's a big deal. It's like whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're together. They've been dating for a while now. It's like, okay, that's cool. We worked it out. Or you just have them be like sickeningly adorable together.
Right. Those are your only options.
Yeah.
They have to be disgusting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like she needs to call him Pookie.
We need some more Kerwin and Miss Piggy action.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem is my ideal here would unfortunately be a scenario where you have to make a third protagonist for the Yakuza series. Because my ideal would just be the what is in my headcanon, the Dick Gumshoe and Maggie Bird thing of no, they just disappeared from the game because they went and got married and had a bunch of kids.
Yeah, like
they can't be doing this Ace Attorney shit anymore. They've got like 9 kids.
Oh god. Okay.
So yeah, there's a little bit of closure on that.
Okay.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Good for him.
Good for him.
We got some news.
Yeah, it's been an hour and we've mostly talked about Yakuza and Twin Peaks.
We've talked about
two great tastes that taste great together. Also called Deadly Premonition.
That's just Deadly Premonition when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess
exactly.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
Nintendo Direct February 2024. A lot of Microsoft games got announced this Direct.
Yeah,
this is
really
a weird
funny.
one because this one wasn't live streamed. They literally just went like, all right, the VOD's live.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Pentiment and Grounded are coming to Switch.
Good for them.
We saw a bit more of Unicorn Overlord, which looks great.
That demo is out. I still need to make time for it.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 is getting a big thing, and also it's going to be freed from the Switch.
This is the biggest Saturn W in the entire presentation because I really like that game. It has a very claustrophobic camera angle and runs at like optimistically 25 frames per second, not stable.
Right.
So it's extremely motion sickness inducing to play that video game on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to do Locked 60 on a PC with an entire new campaign of goodies, and also those character models being now easily rippable, is like, I win.
How nice.
And then the only other big thing that looks really cool is Epic Mickey's getting a remake.
I'm actually really surprised by this one, but I mean, like, hey, that's cool. That's a video game that probably deserves it.
It's one of those things that deserves it, because it kind of got the foreshadowing of current animation industry, where like it got treated as a write-off almost immediately before it even got good sales.
Yeah.
The second one,
they did make a second one.
They did.
Did they?
Yes,
yeah,
I own it.
Second one.
Oh, I see.
I think it's
Oswald's
Epic
in
Mickey
it
too, isn't it?
Yeah, Oswald's in it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's what they very famously the Disney Corporation very famously traded a living human being for the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
They did do that. That's true.
Yeah. If you didn't know about that, so there was a sportscaster whose name I don't know right now because I've had a couple drinks. But there was a sportscaster who worked under the Disney umbrella, and he had a contract with the Disney umbrella, like ESPN, that whole umbrella, for several years, right? But Disney, for the purpose of both Epic Mickey and just general, like, legacy marketing, right? They wanted Oswald back. But Oswald, at the time, belonged to, I believe, NBC Universal, I think is who...
It was definitely Universal.
Okay. So, and by that time, NBC and Universal had merged. So Disney literally, one of the stipulations for getting the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit back, who is, of course, Walt Disney's first, like, white-gloved cartoon character. So basically, like, Mickey's older brother, if you want to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stipulations for Disney getting the rights to Oswald back is that this human being sportscaster, his contract would be sold to Universal, right?
I see.
Quite literally, Disney traded a living human for a cartoon rabbit.
They then proceeded
Whom amongst us?
They then proceeded to make Epic Mickey 2.
Which bombed catastrophically and never did anything with Oswald ever again.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oswald has been delegated to random cameos and occasional of the Paul Rudish shorts.
But I have an Oswald t-shirt because I worked for Lucky Brand at the time of that whole merger thing. So I have a t-shirt with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit on it because they were doing a whole thing. Yeah.
I do want to say this Epic Mickey rebrushed looks incredible.
Looks great. Graphics update looks great.
It isn't just like an HD port, they aren't just redoing the lighting. They're redoing all of the animations.
Yeah, it looks much better.
Like, this is a from the ground up remake.
Yeah, Are they still doing the wonderful thing that Epic Mickey did, which is they figured out how to correctly align his ears so they're always facing the audience at a weird angle?
Yes, they did do that.
I believe they did that in Epic Mickey, did they not?
Yeah, they did.
Just wanted to make sure it stuck around. Yeah, they made sure it stuck around.
Because I remember, like, in interviews, they were saying, like, this was the hardest part that we had to do, by the way. We had all of our design docs done, we just could not figure out the ears for the life of us.
To me, the craziest part is that's Warren Spector. The guy who made Deus Ex. I mean, not the guy who made Deus Ex very famously.
Yeah, I said the phrase he famously hates.
yeah. But the director of Deus Ex, the original Deus Ex.
Yeah.
That's a Warren Spector joint. Yeah,
this is his baby.
Yeah.
It's a little like finding out that George Lucas, like, after he was done making Star Wars movies, made, like, a really terrible movie about the Tuskegee Airmen. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by this, George Lucas?
Hey, bro, what's up?
What's going on here? Yeah, Epic Mickey did famously, like, keep the ears facing forward. Something that Kingdom Hearts very famously decided, we can't do that.
Too much work. No, fuck that.
I do remember them, like, genuinely say, like, we had it in, like, near the end, like, beginning of Gold Phase before we finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that would be way... The thing is, if you had made a Mickey Mouse game on the PS1 or the Nintendo 64, it would be extremely easy to do that.
Right, you just get some front-facing textures like in Mario 64 with the scuttlebutt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. You just make a flat plane with the texture, and it always faces the camera. That's all you need to do.
Next, a new Tomb Raider RPG is in development, and fans can test it soon. They're making a Tomb Raider tabletop game.
That's cool. I think that actually could be fun, depending on the system it's based off of, right?
Yeah, sometimes they do original systems, and I feel like that tends to never go well.
No.
It is PBTA and Forged in the Dark.
It's good. Never mind. Okay.
I was saying, if it's a mix between PBTA and Forged in the Dark, it will at least be eminently playable, whether or not it's actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing about PBTA and FITD is that, like, both of those are systems that work extremely well together. Like, you can smush your Powered by the Apocalypse and your Forged in the Game, mostly because Forged in the Dark is spawned off of Powered by the Apocalypse, right? Like, Forged in the Dark is born out of originally like an Apocalypse game that then the creator was like, actually, I want this to be a little bit crunchier. Like, I want this to have a little bit more numbers involved. And so, yeah, you can smush those two systems together extremely easily and basically guarantee a good game. Like, that's the thing about Forged in the Dark is that, like, it has, what is it? Like, easy to learn, difficult to master.
Right.
Like, that is kind of what Forged in the Dark is. It's basically my favorite type of system. Like, anytime a game is like, yeah, we based it around Forged in the Dark, it's like, oh, okay, that's an easy W. Absolutely. Because it's really hard to fuck up, right?
Yeah, the problem, like, the worst crime any Forged in the Dark derivative system has, like, made in its design is when it doesn't change the things that are, like, not simpatico to the vibe it's going for. Because Forged in the Dark, it's a heist game, right? It's a Dishonored kind of heist game. And so it has lots of things in that are themed around the Dishonored heist kind of thing. And sometimes you'll get people who make one that's like, yeah, this is my cowboy one, or whatever. But it still just has all the Dishonored heist shit in it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you get inventive with it, you can really make a lot of cool, interesting, easy to pick up, complicated systems in there. Yeah, and so, like, if that is the Forged in the Dark derivative, I'm suddenly, well, since the original amount of interest was 0, I am suddenly infinitely more interested in that RPG system.
It's funny because the aesthetic they're clearly going for is like modern pulp style.
Sure.
Great.
And one of the things that stood out to me is one of your archetypes is the companion. Yeah. And he looks like Jackie from Cyberpunk. he is big guy who is not white.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, that archetype.
Yeah.
I have all sorts of playbook moves that involve getting my character permanently killed.
You are the infinitely likable, more experienced merc, but only slightly more experienced.
Yeah.
But everybody loves you, and you know a lot of people, and you're pretty good at what you do, and that means that you are basically engineered to die in the first campaign.
So Sully from Uncharted. Yeah, I get
exactly.
Yeah, a guy who somehow manages to avoid being killed. I haven't played that last one. That Sully does definitely manage to avoid being killed for a lot of those games.
But he does,
which is surprising.
But he does set off the death flag every fucking game.
Constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They keep making you think this time we're really going to do it.
Sully keeps smoking a big cigar going, this time will be different. This will be my last time. And then
this time I'm really going to do it.
Wait, no, it's Sully. This last one I'll be goddamn retired.
That's right.
Sully keeps showing Nathan Drake pictures of the new boat he bought.
Mm-hmm. How he's gonna go on vacation with his new young wife. It's like, oh no, Sully, no!
And then he just like a bunch of arrows fly past his head.
Yeah, just constantly being missed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it actually looks like a pretty fun, solid tabletop game.
I mean, listen, if you base your system around Forged in the Dark, it's almost impossible to fail. Like, even if you structure it too much around the original Forged in the Dark hook of heists, the thing is that it's really easy for players to just ignore that part. Right?
Yeah. And it's Tomb Raider, so, like, what is Tomb Raiding if not a heist that's gone on for a really long time?
That's a type of heist, yeah.
I think the Tomb Raider thing is supposed to be protecting tombs from Tomb Raiders, though. But
even that is a type of interesting heist because you're
counter heisting. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what Ocean's 12 is about.
That's right.
It is 12, right? Or is it Ocean's 13 that does that?
Or is it...
One of them.
Don't worry about it.
It's a movie that starts with oceans and ends with a number above 11.
Don't worry
and it's got
about
George Clooney in it. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Bernie
That gets butts and seats if you're a person above a certain age bracket.
It'll get him out of the seat if you're above a certain age bracket.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, next news.
Next, Konami's re-releasing one of the rarest Game Boy Advance games.
Which one?
Octane?
Ninja 5-0.
Oh.
Like Hawaii 5-0?
Yeah.
Hawaii's where all the ninjas live. Haven't you seen us play Infinite Wealth?
Good point.
It is a side-scrolling platformer, kind of vaguely Ninja Gaiden-esque looking. But apparently, even loose cartridges cost $700 on eBay.
Wow.
They did not print like any of those.
$700.
So guess who's stepping in? Our good friends, Limited Run Games.
Oh,
$600.
No. But if it's Limited Run Games, the problem is, like, a Limited Run Games product is fine if you can just go to a Best Buy and get it.
Right.
But if you have to depend on Limited Run Games to ship it to you, you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble. Yeah, no. I'm always really sad. So Jeremy Parrish follows me on Twitter and we interact semi-regularly. He's a cool guy. He unfortunately works for Limited Run Games. He's one of their like social media guys. Which is a shame because like he's cool. He does like a whole YouTube series about just talking about old NES games, right? If you just look up NES Works, that's Jeremy Parrish. He's a cool guy. But his day job is Limited Run Games, unfortunately. And Limited Run Games fucking sucks.
They do.
Like, it's a scam company, basically. And they fucking suck. Yeah, no, that's a shame.
Yeah, so, I mean, cool that it's getting re-released. I just wish it was in a way that's like...
Is it going to get a digital release, too? Or is it only through limited runs?
The article does not mention... Oh, no, digital and physical.
Oh, okay. That's not so bad then. Okay. I mean, it still sucks, but as long as there is still, like, if you can buy it off of fucking Steam for, $15, then it's not so bad, right?
Yeah. Next, Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree trailer.
All right, Saturday, let's go.
I have no idea what it's about. That DLC's $40, and I'm going to buy it like a stupid idiot.
Yep.
That's correct.
Look, the problem is, Sarah, when FromSoft does a DLC thing like this, they don't give us a lot to go off of because they are basically starting a whole new story without a whole lot of any breadcrumbs, even remotely related to it in the main game.
Right.
The only things that we know for sure are where in the main game you access the DLC area from, and the fact that the redheaded guy who shows up in the trailer is, because he doesn't say it in the trailer, this is something Miyazaki said in an interview later, is apparently named Mesmer.
Okay.
That's all we know. There's a dueling shield in it. It could be fun.
It's probably going to be fun. Yeah.
Also, apparently, it's the biggest, and I should hope so because it costs $40. It's apparently the biggest of these kinds of game expansions they have ever done. It's a completely...
By all accounts, it just sounds kind of like a sequel.
I mean, it's not. It's It's not like it's an area that is like I would say it is a far harbor is what it is, but it's like a gigantic far harbor.
You know, back during like the time when like the line was muddied between an expansion pack and a DLC.
Sure.
This is kind of leaning into expansion pack. That's all we know.
We know that the new area takes place at we know everything is completely cordoned off from the main game. Like there's no new endings or anything like that. Which is how they've done things traditionally.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like we know that the new area they're adding is, I would say, probably of a size that's like a fifth to a sixth of the original game's world map.
That's pretty big still.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
They said it's bigger than Limgrave, which is like the sort of broad area you start the game in.
Right.
So it would be like the equivalent if they put out a thing for Tears of the Kingdom, right? And they were like, yeah, this area is like and like your reference for the Tears of the Kingdom DLC is like the area is a bit bigger than the Gerudo Desert.
Okay. I understand.
That's kind of what we're working with.
Sure.
Other than that, as with most FromSoft games, it is a goddamn mystery.
There's people speculating about things that could be about that go deep into like, what could be implied here by the symbology that's elsewise in the game, but it's like, we will not know until we can play it. Is really as simple as it is.
Right.
There's apparently another poison swamp in it.
Well, yeah, of course. Of course there is. Like, why would you not have poison swamps?
A poison swamp to define all poison swamps.
I liked seeing, by the way, we all saw that House of Decline comic, right? Izaki kissing the poison swamp. Apparently that people have been translating that into Japanese for Japanese audiences.
I'm so happy.
I didn't Miyazaki like retweet it?
I don't know. Does that dude have a fucking...
I don't think he has one, but if he did, I'd be following it.
What's his first name? I forgot.
Hideki? No, it's not Hideki. Think of Kamiya.
Isn't it Hidetaki?
I'm like, it's not Hayao, because Hayao's the film director one.
Isn't it Hidetaki?
Hidetaki, that's right. Or something like that. Hidetaka, that's what it is. I'm like, does he even have a Twitter? This seems like the kind of guy who just wouldn't.
While you're looking that up, next...
He does not have a Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Believe it, a live-action Naruto is on the way from the director of Shang-Chi.
Oh no!
No! What's that Tumblr meme? Had me in the first half there, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. One Piece came out good. Everything else so far has been a disappointment. But the existence of a good One Piece had me go like, yeah, maybe if you did some editorializing it. Director of Shang-Chi. Oh, never mind.
Well, I know that Shang-Chi is one of the less. I mean, like, it's still kind of like a nothing Marvel movie, but it does have good, by all accounts, pretty good action scenes, right? Like pretty good fight scenes and all that stuff. And the director does seem to have like a genuine appreciation for wuxia, right?
Right.
So it could be good, but considering that One Piece is the exception, not the rule, it's gonna be bad.
It's so funny how One Piece bought so much goodwill for live action remakes, and then Avatar immediately squandered all that goodwill.
I will say, though, I do think, just because of Kishimoto's sensibilities at the time, I know that his sexism is undefeated, of course. Nobody hates women more than Masashi Kishimoto. However, his sensibilities are tied, his, like, stylistic sensibilities are tied with the first handful of Bleach arcs for, like, infinitely adaptable to live action, right? Like, more so than One Piece.
Yeah.
One Piece is the one of the three that I was like, you can't adapt that to live action.
Which absolutely means that the Naruto live action show will be very bad.
Yeah,
because it's such an easy W, right?
Yeah, it's such an easy W because you literally just do like the first 20 episodes of Naruto.
Yeah, you just do the Haku, you do the arc leading up to Haku and what's his face, Zabuza. That's right.
Yeah. And then you do Haku and Zabuza.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best characters in the show.
Easy W.
And then you're like, oh, that's Naruto. We're not going to do any more of it. We have to spend like 3 live-action seasons doing the
You could do Chunin. You could do Chunin.
You could probably do Chunin.
You could do Chunin. Live
my
action.
problem is like the thing in Naruto I would most want to see adapted to live action is the thing that never will be because it's so deep in Naruto.
Which is
the pain arc.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it is genuinely like the arc of Naruto where it's like, look, here's the themes of Naruto. This is what Naruto is about. We're going to be like difficult and kind of like emotionally sensitive shonen for a little bit.
Sure.
This is what Naruto is all about. And they immediately follow it up with the dumbest fucking conclusion, like the worst Avengers Endgame shit you have ever seen them do in a shonen manga, the end of that manga, immediately after finishing the pain arc, and it drives me fucking insane. Naruto is so... It's like... I never recommend anyone read Hunter x Hunter, right? Because like I really like the Chimera Ant arc, and like the rest of it's okay, but like you can't skip the other stuff to get to the Chimera Ant arc because it's important.
Right.
But Naruto is like, if I could find a way to rewrite Naruto such that you could just have it be the pain arc and literally nothing else, I would try.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so good.
What we're learning about these adaptations more and more is that the easier it should be to pull it off, the worse it's going to be.
Absolutely.
I do think it 100% is. It's not just like One Piece was like lightning in a bottle. It was also like, due to contract stipulations, Netflix couldn't do a lot of creative liberties without Oda being right there at the desk with a shotgun.
Sure, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that Kishimoto is super checked out, right?
Yeah. The thing is, the thing that made One Piece good is that Oda was there the whole time, being like, "No, don't do that."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that like I realize there are people there are still like critiques you can make about it or whatever, but it is still one of those things. Like, no, the Netflix One Piece is so good, it convinced me that One Piece is worth my time to go and read at some point.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, every other live-action anime thing has been, like, a complete failure across the board.
I want to complain one little bit about Avatar, real quick. Because the thing about Avatar that they said is that, like, oh, well, we've got to cut out all of the, quote, filler stuff. We can't show Aang having fun and, like, all the goofy, goofing off, hanging out stuff anymore. Because we just don't have the time for it.
Right.
Minute for minute, Avatar live action is longer than season 1 of Avatar the cartoon.
That show's fucked. That show's fucked.
That show's so fucked, yeah.
So you were lying.
You were lying, absolutely.
You were lying. And the problem is, like, it does strike me, everything I've seen of it just strikes me as the Cowboy Bebop thing of someone wanted to be the person who made the good live action version of X, but does not have a sincere understanding of that.
Oh yeah.
Or why that thing works.
It's the worst thing ever where it's like, oh, we're going to fix this show.
Like, one guy got hired not understanding that it wasn't Cameron's Avatar.
Yeah.
he got the classic Bill Murray switcheroo. You know about the classic Bill Murray switcheroo?
Yeah, absolutely. Where he thought it was the Coen brothers, but it was
he signed on to that shitty-ass Garfield movie, like, well, I have no idea why the Coen brothers are doing a Garfield movie, but hey, why not? And then found out that it was just 2 people who had the same name. He's like, fuck, I already signed.
Yeah.
So yeah, this will be a disaster. I can't wait.
No, yeah, it's absolutely... And which just sucks, because, yeah, Naruto, I believe that the first 2 arcs, even leading up to Chunin, I know that Chunin would probably have to be scaled back a little at the very end with all the Gaara shit.
You'd have to do like an entire season all its own to do the Chunin exams.
Sure, but I think that everything leading up to the end of Chunin is infinitely adaptable into live action and could be good in the right hands. However, that means that it's going to be bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my favorite detail about Naruto while we're on the topic of Naruto?
Sure.
Go for it.
So obviously, like, everyone kind of, like, went through their tuning exams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And during the course of the series, a lot of them go to the Genin exams to become the middle tier of ninja.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we get to like Age of Boruto, and like it's been a significant amount of time, and a lot of these people are Jonin now, like high tier ninja. And as you know, Naruto is the Hokage in Boruto.
Yes.
Naruto in the series went to the Genin exams, but they got canceled that year because basically they got invaded by the Sand Nation, or by the Sand Tribe in the middle of it. And he proceeded to never actually go to the Genin exam. So Hokage is a Chunin.
Because Naruto very famously did not pass the tuning exams.
I believe part of the arc in Naruto is that he eventually went back. And,
okay.
They did that.
He basically gets a GED equivalent.
Because the big thing about the tuning exams is that the only one of the Hidden Leaf Village who gets it is Shikimura. Or Shikamaru.
I believe that they eventually had like the makeup exams thing or whatever. It's like, no, obviously obviously Naruto got it. Like, yeah, he's Naruto, but like he got there.
Like after the time skip, like everyone else got there. Like, yeah, the reason that only Shikamaru was wearing the jacket is because he's the only one that passed.
He's the only one who was a Genin for the entire run of that show.
That's so funny. What a great...
I think because Shippuden has a time skip, and so I think. Yes. Some of them are also Genin and Shippuden, but Naruto never was because he spent like the entire time skip training with toads.
Yeah, Genin is the first rank, so everyone's a Genin at the start, and then they become a Chunin and then a Jonin.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, Naruto stays a Genin for most of the series, and everyone else is at least a Chunin.
Not for most of the series. He's a Genin forever.
Yeah.
he never gets to the middle tier, and he's the Hokage.
It's like if the Hokage it's like if the president never graduated college.
Yeah, exactly. And I've met some people who've never graduated college. We should have a president who never graduated college. There's this like 4'10" Latina mother of 9 I used to work with who I think would make a really great president of the United States.
Not even graduating college. It's like not graduating high school.
Great. Absolutely voting for that person for president.
Next. Yoko Taro teases Nier 3.
Nier 4.
Search for Nier 3.
I'll believe Nier 3 is real when I see it.
That's correct.
That man has been laboring in the gacha mines for so long. I'm not convinced he knows what a real video game looks like anymore.
That's correct.
He made a tweet yesterday that is just the word reincarnation with the E replaced with a 3.
That actually made me feel a little fucking crazy because it made me realize that the first 4 words of reincarnation are just near.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Yeah.
And the capitalization is similar too. In a way.
And I'm just like, oh no.
Which like I never ended up going and watching any of like the reincarnation stuff that like I didn't see when I played that game near launch.
Mm-hmm.
But that game seemed like it could have very reasonably been like a Near Zero a little bit, where it seemed like kind of the thing it was doing was like stories from the weird project, right? Or like the history of the machine world. Or the, not the machine world, like the history of like this weird android pseudo-Earth that had been kept going for X thousands of years until the events of this game or that game happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really hope we get Nier 3. I will continue to stick to my bit of I hope that it is still actually just the thing that that completes the closed time loop between Nier and Drakengard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope it is Nier 4, the search for Nier 3.
I would love that.
I posit the significantly funnier option.
Please.
Which is Nier 5, the search for Drakengard 4.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Totally.
I think they should just call it Nier, Drakengard.
Oh,
that actually is the best option. Yeah.
Well, he goes for completely different pastiche. That's what they call it in the Western releases. In Japan, it's called Drakengard, Nier.
Yeah.
I think the crazier or the funner option is doing the exact same thing, but it's 2 colons to indicate that they are equal to each other. And then in Japanese, it's instead he's Drakengard greater or less or greater or equal to.
Great.
Oh, there's so many
options. Yeah,
there's so many options. Is the thing. I
have to hold out hope that they're giving him, like with Automata, they're giving him access to a real studio with people who know what they're doing, and not trying to get the old Kavia stomping ground back together, or just getting together the most ragtag budget bunch of fucking incompetence you can imagine.
We're getting
every other real video game. Yes.
Please.
This time.
However, it would be funny if you just put him with Swery's weird studio, right? Where it's just no, what do you mean budget? We're not giving Nier 3 a budget. Are you crazy?
Which is insane. Square Enix loves to fumble the bag and make bad decisions, right? Almost nobody is better other than Nintendo themselves than Square Enix, right? Square Enix loves to fumble the bag. So I totally could see them being this game that sold 4 million copies out of nowhere and nobody expected it to sell 4 million copies. We're still going to put that guy on the budget team, right?
It worked out last time, so
I know.
I think it would just be so funny if the other reveal is just him revealing that he's working with another company, and everyone's just kind of is it going to be Kojima Productions or something? And it's no, it's Sakurai and his Smash group.
Please.
No, okay, hold on. I'm gonna make a suggestion.
Please.
What if this is the first mumblings we get of finding out that Square Enix bought Platinum Games?
Oh
no.
That would be okay, because it would be wouldn't die.
Look, I'm not a fan of mergers. It would be a net positive for Platinum Games.
Yep.
That's right. And honestly, Square Enix as well.
Yeah. I mean, they already have a business relationship. Platinum did a lot of work on
Babylon's Fall.
And Babylon's Fall.
16, that's right. Mm-hmm. So, they absolutely, I could see Square Enix acquiring... I mean, in general, like you said, mergers are bad. But in this case, it's probably for the best.
Because this might be a thing, especially now that they have some of their most, high-profile, talent leaving that company.
Yeah.
They might have had leverage for Square Enix to go, look, okay, we'll buy you, but we're not doing the Bungie Sony thing. That's not working out for them, and also we don't trust you because we've seen what you've put out recently. We'll buy you, but we are going to be telling you what you're making.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what you're making is a slam dunk, impossible to fuck up, sales-wise at least, third Nier game.
That's right. Just make another... If you made Nier 3 and it was just the exact same systems from Automata, 20 million copies.
Yep,
right?
Yeah. Easy.
That game still rules.
That game is still good. That game is still really good. It doesn't need a lot of improvement upon it for what it's about thematically, right? That game is still really good, so just put the same video game out twice, but with a different story this time, and enjoy the easy money rolling in,
Sometimes we need to go back to the PS2 era where sequels of games were just the same game with different levels.
Yeah, and with slightly tweaked systems instead of totally overhauled new systems, right?
Wait, I just had another realization.
Please.
Reincarnation with the 3 isn't Nier Reincarnation. It's Drakengard Reincarnation, and it's the second Drakengard game called Drakengard 3, with absolutely no relation to Drakengard 3.
No, I'm going insane!
Next news story. Project L, officially titled 2XKO, launches for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC in 2025.
What the fuck is this?
Riot fighting game featuring League of Legends characters.
Yeah, this is a League of Legends fighting game.
Okay.
I see.
Which they should have just kept calling it Project L because 2XKO is a terrible name.
I know they were never going to keep calling it Project L because, like, that's just like the Project Letter is just like their. Like, I played the. I technically don't think I'm legally allowed to talk about this, but fine. I played the closed alpha for Valorant before it was called Valorant. Like, it was a friends and family and like invitations or whatever thing, and they just called that Project A,
right,
for a very long time. And when they announced it, they're like, by the way, this is Valorant now. So I was never going to say Project L. 2XKO, however, is an extremely bad name.
It sounds like 2XKO sounds like the name of a board game or tabletop game that is a fighting game pastiche.
It sounds like if OKKO got like a sequel series, but as a video game.
Okay.
It sounds like if you made a postmodern follow-up to Threes.
Yeah.
Like, it just, it doesn't work. It doesn't have any of the actual League of Legends marketing in the title, right?
Yeah, which is the weird thing, because, like, at least with, like, Valorant, like, that's its own thing. It has no connection, ostensibly, to League of Legends. This is a League of Legends fighting game. Why aren't you advertising that in the fucking name of the thing?
Yeah,
why isn't it
really
called
weird.
Legends 2XKO?
Yeah, because they want it to show up at the top of the Steam search list for
That's literally
games.
it. That's literally it. That's all it is.
Then fucking call it 2XKO Legends. At least put one of the two words.
Yeah, well, Ben, if you can convince them of that, there's a job waiting for you at Riot as a marketing consultant.
Just call it exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Like the punctuation.
Yeah. And then it always shows up at the top of Steam search lists for fighting games. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It's also awkward to say.
2XKO. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, those mouth movements don't feel good.
No.
What are you gonna fucking abbreviate this to?
You can. It's already the most abbreviated it possibly is.
Yeah, no.
Like,
and they fucked up because the shortest possible abbreviations is 4 letters, which is just long enough to be cumbersome.
Yeah, like, you can't call it SF or MK or fucking T number. You already did.
Don't worry about it.
The bad news continue. We got 2 new articles that happened today.
All right.
Sony announced a significant PlayStation layoffs affecting 900 staff. London studio to close.
Jim Ryan will continue to burn in hell for what he has done to Sony as a company.
We saw that photo of him visiting that studio, all smiles, like 4 days before this announcement. Mm-hmm. And he knew.
Oh, he
Because there's no way he didn't. Yeah. You don't make those decisions overnight. He knew that he was going to be costing all of those people their jobs.
Yeah.
And I hope he burns in hell, genuinely. That there's a special place in hell reserved for men like him.
Yeah, absolutely.
8% of their employees.
Yeah.
This is affecting,
it's brutal.
If anybody in that studio had known beforehand and didn't say anything,
this is affecting not just the closure of the London studio. The biggest hits are Insomniac, Naughty Dog, and Guerrilla. The 3 biggest studios at Sony right now.
Yeah.
You know, lay off all the people who are making you money and like whose games
who are literally making your money making franchises right now. Yeah.
I saw a post recently. I think it was on Tumblr. And it's the thing that makes me think about a lot in the gaming thing, which is like, our kingdom has not been invaded by enemies in the last 50 years. We don't need a wizard anymore. And it's like, bro, who do you think put up the circle of protection?
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey. I know Naughty Dog is just making remakes of the same 2 games over and over again, but
they're making money.
Wasn't Insomniac working on like Wolverine? Something else, like some other? They had this other superhero character
that like really, everybody's super hyped about.
Really popular. What was his name? He's one of like the 3 biggest names in superhero history. Wolverine.
Yeah,
didn't that leak also suggest they're also making a Venom thing as like a Miles Morales guy? Like, why are you taking staff away from the company that is going to be printing you money into the foreseeable future?
Like, Insomniac is like their biggest company right now.
Like, let me be clear. I did not buy Spider-Man 2. I'm honestly not likely ever to. That Venom game comes out, I'm buying that Venom game.
Sure.
Yeah.
If I don't have a PS5, then I won't immediately. But like, I will buy that Venom game come hell or high water.
Oh, don't worry, it'll get released on PC after like 2 years.
That's fine.
Like,
I can wait.
It's like the AAA industry can't die fast enough.
No, absolutely. I pray every day for the death of AAA as a fucking subset of the industry. It is absurd to me because nobody has been more obviously like, they say that tech layoffs are like a virus. They just kind of happen because other companies are doing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. We heard that bit about where every company that's been doing tech layoffs in the last couple of months is just copying Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly. And it's never been more obvious than with Sony laying off 900 people, because Sony is ostensibly winning the console war, even though like none of their games are big cultural hits. They have sold extremely well. They are selling consoles. They're doing well despite everything. I understand shutting down the live service Twisted Metal game because you're seeing the writing on the wall that live service games are not a thing anymore. But to lay off people making the video games that are still keeping your dog shit console afloat, right? Like,
yeah.
The entire reason that the PlayStation 5 is viable at all is because of contributions from, Naughty Dog and Insomniac, right? And Guerrilla.
Yeah.
To lay those people off who are directly responsible for the success of the PlayStation 5 because they are making games that can at present only be gotten on the PlayStation 5. So Spider-Man 2, Last of Us 2, despite all of my misgivings about that game, and Horizon 2. Those are games that at current can only be gotten on Sony consoles, right?
Right.
Those are people directly responsible for your success as a gaming platform. To lay them off is exceptionally galling and means I will probably never buy a PlayStation ever again.
This is so offensively like incorrect
evil
to do.
Yeah, it's just vile.
Jim Ryan's really lucky that he's getting out of this like with his kneecaps intact, because this is going to be the year that all of Jim Ryan's bad decisions come home to roost.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every single decision he made about like live service games in the industry is about to hit Sony like a fucking brick to the head.
We're seeing this with the layoffs. We're seeing this with the Twisted Metal live action thing live service thing getting canceled. We're seeing this with the fact that they made that announcement. It's like, we're not going to have any new first-party releases this year.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any first-party releases, because Jim Ryan's like, no, we need these 8-year development cycle video games.
That nobody wants.
And we're realizing with Helldivers, which is a thing that they're publishing, but also they don't own that studio, that, like, the thing is that what really gets people going is a good single-A video game.
Mm-hmm.
That is an optimistically 1A on that video game, and that's the thing that's currently, there's just posting recently like, we've upped the server cap again to 700,000 people because you people won't stop buying the video game, and like, so we're doing this so we can keep the lights on for the server and keep things stable. But it's like, that game did not. I can assure you that game did not cost remotely what a Spider-Man cost, or remotely what a Last of Us or a God of War
Absolutely
cost.
not.
And that game's like doing fucking gangbusters.
As it turns out, like, you can sell a multiplayer exclusive game, but like, it doesn't need to cost $300 million. It just needs to be fun and look good enough, and you need to be able to play it with your friends, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And all of these insane decisions that Jim Ryan made to be like, all of our games are going to be huge live service games.
Right.
All of it's just all coming home to roost to completely obliterate Sony.
I want to read a quote from Jim Ryan that will make you wonder why his house is still intact.
Oh, God.
For those who will be leaving SIE, you are leaving this company with our deepest respect and appreciation for all your efforts during your tenure.
Go to hell.
How that man still has bones.
What a fucking...
beyond me.
Because Jim Ryan is leaving Sony with an absolutely disgusting golden parachute.
Yeah.
Right?
I need to put that man in the mechanical meat separator that makes the chicken nugget slime.
That's a tubby custard machine, bitch.
This is the most fuck you got mine I've ever seen.
It's so wretched. I literally hate it. There's a reason I continue to be vindicated in my decision to not own a PlayStation 5. Even with Rebirth coming out in like a handful of days, I continue to be vindicated in my decision to not own a PlayStation 5 anymore. Because Sony is not producing anything good, and all of the people that could produce anything good for them, they have now laid off.
Yeah, they are kneecap. It's the fucking David Zaslav thing,
right?
They're kneecapping the things that actually give them the money.
Because the problem is, like, even if PS5 has been successful up to now, they have cratered their ability to, like, sustain the PS5 through its continued life cycle or to feasibly create things that would make a PS6 worth owning.
Yeah.
Like, Microsoft doesn't make anything, which is tragic, but because of all the fucking companies they own. But, like, they have not kneecapped their ability to do things. They just make things that suck because their management's bad.
That's right, because they don't know how to manage themselves.
It's just incompetence.
Like, fucking, push comes to shove, like, you can get Bethesda to make a video game, you just kind of have to send someone in to, like, put Todd into a different room.
That's right.
And, like, that's a big studio. They can put shit out. They'll get it working. But, like, you haven't created this scenario where it's like, no, a game has to have an 8-year development cycle. Like, Microsoft hasn't committed to that particular bit. I don't think we've heard anything about a new Gears of War thing, because, frankly, I don't think they're making a new Gears of War thing. I think
super dead.
Yeah, I think they've written that franchise off internally. But it's like, for everything else, though, like, I'm not convinced Sony has learned the lesson yet. Microsoft has had enough high-profile failures in this area where it is feasible to assume that someone has learned the lesson over there.
Yeah, the problem with Sony versus like Nintendo and Microsoft. So Nintendo is doing fine, and they generally, God love them, for all of my problems with Nintendo, and there are multitudes of problems, they don't really do layoffs. Right. Because it's kind of a very Japanese kind of company management system there, right? You don't really lay people off.
Very infamously, the story of Iwata
taking a pay cut.
Yeah, which you find out was mandatory, which still is, hey, pretty good that you have that system in place where the CEO has to take the fall.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot about the news article we got last year about how Bungie was encountering some things, and that, like, internally suggestion was floated of executive pay cuts, and the response was, we don't do that here.
Yeah. You know, like, and so, like, Nintendo does executive pay cuts to compensate for any kind of downturn in the market, which they're not really experiencing because the Switch is obviously a huge hit. Yeah. So they can kind of keep, proceeding as business as usual. And Microsoft can, they can lay people off, and they can do all kinds of, like, heinous shit. But no matter what happens with the downturn in the market, they own Windows.
Yeah.
They will always have money. They will always have the ability to weather any kind of storm in the games industry because they own Windows. Mm-hmm. Sony coasts entirely off of its game development division. It's the only division in Sony that is profitable. Sony does not have any, like, their tech development division, their movies division, none of it turns a profit. The only one that turns a profit is video games. And to kneecap, it's like, if you told me they laid off a bunch of people at Sony Movies, I would be like, that sucks, but that makes sense because Sony movies fucking suck. Have you seen Madam Web? But
no, but we're gonna.
But instead you lay off all of the people responsible for the only division in Sony that makes money is like, if you destroy your games division, you have nothing as a company, right?
We've talked about this before, like a little while ago, where these are just the decisions where I just need to look Jim Ryan in the eye and say, explain this to me.
And the problem is that they can't, because people like Jim Ryan don't have any blood. They are actual bloodless reptilians, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have it's a recurring theme on this podcast that will continue as 2024 progresses and video game layoffs continue to happen and the market essentially implodes in on itself, continues to be true, which is that rich people don't have feelings. They're not human. People like Jim Ryan aren't human. They don't think about the world the same way as the rest of us. They don't understand that, like, the entire reason Sony is able to make money and pay these big golden parachutes is because of, like, the fucking QA guys at Naughty Dog, right?
Right.
Like, and the deal is that they're not human. They don't have any conception. It's not even necessarily like a class consciousness thing, right?
Yeah.
It is literally just that they are so wealthy and so bloodless and so detached that they just kind of see the rest of the world as figures upon which must be cut. Right?
Yeah, like I don't even believe that this is about Jim Ryan getting more money.
Right.
Like it's not, whatever the logic is behind this is not so that Jim Ryan can get a bigger paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something else going on here. It's about, it's always leads down to the idea of the prospect of more money.
Yeah.
These people, these soulless, bloodless automatons are more invested in the idea of potential earnings than they are in an actual paycheck.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it doesn't matter that their current paycheck is good. It's that their potential paycheck could be better. And the fact is that Jim Ryan is out next month. It doesn't matter for him.
Yeah, no, he doesn't care.
Right? So he's only thinking about a hypothetical that will never, ever affect him. And it's really galling. I think that's why it makes me so mad, is that this doesn't affect him at all. Like, these layoffs and stuff that he is ostensibly overseeing, because he is still technically, until March, the CEO of Sony. He still is in control of this.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the long-term ramifications are not going to affect him in the slightest, right? But it's a little fuck you on the way out the door.
Right, exactly.
So, it just is so galling.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely vile. To
be this inhuman is just
to the people who basically made your golden parachute, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, we've talked about it before, where it's just like, I can't even conceive having anything remotely like this mindset. Like, I just can't picture going to bed or eating lunch and thinking, oh, I just cost 900 people their jobs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Could you imagine? Could you live with yourself?
No, I can't.
No, that's why I'm not a CEO.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't perceive being in the mindset that would lead you to being okay with this.
Yeah, and that's because you're like a normal human being instead of a fucking bloodless reptilian. Yeah, absolutely. So it's bleak, it's dire, it's gonna keep happening over the rest of 2024. It's gonna suck.
2023 was a great year for video games. This year's gonna fucking suck.
It's gonna suck absolutely universally, because 2023 was a great year for video game releases and not a good year for video game employees.
Mm-hmm.
But at least good video games were coming out. 2023, nothing. It's only going to, or 2024, excuse me, nothing. It's only going to be bad news because nothing's fucking coming out and everybody is losing their job.
We've got 7 Rebirth coming out.
That's about it.
Like on Thursday, and that's gonna be it
until
for video
Dawn Trail
games of that scale. Frankly, I like. Look, am I gonna play the fuck out of Dawn Trail?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a AA video game.
Oh yeah,
that's
kind
for sure.
of why. That's kind of why Final Fantasy 14 has been able to coast along as long as it has, is because it's a AA video game on a good day, right?
On a good day, and
there's gonna be shit all else.
Like I'm gonna get SMT5 Vengeance.
Sure.
I'm gonna get the Elden Ring DLC, and I might get Unicorn Overlord if it runs okay on Switch.
We'll see.
But that's really it. Like I have a little bit of interest in Dragon's Dogma 2, but I'm not like I'm honestly I'm probably not gonna buy it at launch. I might get it later.
Oh no! Like Stellar Blade, I think looks really interesting because it just looks like a budget Nier Automata.
Well, Stellar Blade is a B game.
Yeah, Stellar Blade is a B game on a good day, and so far it looks like it's only releasing at launch on PlayStation 5, so it's not even a problem for me for now. I'll wait 6 months and then it's out on PC and I'll play it then.
Yeah. No, I am not. We're not going to stream that one day one.
No.
That's you gotta wait until you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now if it's a 3 out of 10, we're gonna be playing it within the week. But
but we'll wait.
We'll wait. Yeah.
You have to buy it before they delist it.
We got one more article. Let's end on something kind of cool.
All right.
There was also a Pokemon Direct.
There was a Pokemon Direct.
Hey, they're putting out Pokemon Pizza.
The Pokemon Final Fantasy VII. I saw it and I was like, that's just a Midgar. How fitting to announce this right before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I regret to inform you, Sarah, it's a Paris.
Yeah, well...
That's just how that city looks.
Well, as I was saying in the Nintendo quarantine room on the Discord, if your video game city is shaped like a circle and has sectors, and each of those sectors has like a main hub in it that has like a power thing or a boss thing in it, that's a Midgar.
That's
Sorry,
Midgar, baby.
You made a Midgar.
Here's the other.
But Midgar is a Paris.
That's fair, but it's still a Midgar because it's in a video game.
Here's the other thing that kind of cinches it is it takes place instead of the other Legends, which takes place in the far past. This is in the far future.
That's right.
It's very Magitech-y. So it's incredibly Midgar now.
That's a Midgar.
It actually does look really cool. I'm actually kind of interested in that.
I'm glad Zygarde is getting a W.
Good for him.
Here's what I'm wondering: is that little blonde twink gonna come back somehow? Because in the other one, he was an isekai character,
right?
So what if he came back again, and that's just what keeps all the legend stuff together? Because that would mean.
What if he's the Xenos who has an awareness that the player character is somehow different by onus of the mystical hand that guides their every action?
All I'm saying is, it would be incredibly funny if, that's why Xenos isn't in Dawn Trail. He's busy just kind of jumping around for a little bit.
Pokemon. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I found it. It's my calling.
The problem is Xenos would be the bad guy, not because he's a Pokemon villain, but because he insists on fighting the Pokemon directly.
Yeah.
His bare fists, yeah.
My brain course corrected a few things, and it led me to thinking of Xenos as not a Pokemon trainer, but a Sujimon trainer.
And Xenos would never make guys fight for him.
Yeah, he would never bother. That's the problem.
He would much sooner do the fighting himself.
So you're saying
Xenos decapitating someone's Charizard like, my friend, why do you let these beasts take your glory?
Yeah, so what we're saying is that Xenos himself is a Sujimon.
Yes, that's what we're getting at.
Xenos is the legendary Sujimon.
He
absolutely.
is. You go into Cerulean Cave and you fight all the Sujimon, and there at the very top is Xenos too. Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Finally, the Venn diagram is crossed. It's the ultimate Otzi waifu.
Now that's the fucking promotional crossover DLC I want for Infinite
Imagine.
Wealth. It's
just like, where is Xenos during Dawn Trail? He's in Hawaii? There's some reason? Okay. Sure, this may as well be happening.
We always joke about the idea of Xenos washing up on the beach like Gulliver in Animal Crossing.
Yes.
He washes up on the beach of Dondoko Island.
Oh, fuck yeah. I think that sounds great, actually. Let's fucking go, yeah.
I seem to have landed on what they call the big one. Hawaii. My conquest begins.
Yeah, no, that sounds great to me. Absolutely, let's fucking go.
And earn his keep by fighting guys who were dressed up in big trash bags and hopping around.
That's right. He do. You know what? You're doing great, sweetie. Is what I'm saying. Just me holding my phone out, like, you're doing great, sweetie. Yeah, no. So, I'm looking forward to another fucking Pokemon game. So yeah.
Apparently, the first Legends is good, so there's good hope on this.
Legends is it strikes me as a thing of like when they were doing Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, it was like, this is the war between finding out what people want.
Yeah.
A Pokemon game that is very similar but significantly bigger and more open, or a Pokemon game that is completely fucking different.
Right.
Right.
And they it seems they have ended up deciding to go, yeah, well, the Scarlet Violet style is going to continue to be the main style, but Legends was modestly successful, so we'll continue making those.
Sure, absolutely.
And honestly, I preferred the way the game played more that way, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that I actually own a Switch now, so I can like play.
You can play Pokemon Legends.
I can actually
play
Pokemon Legends.
You know what, Sarah?
Now.
Yeah. As we've said, this would be a good year for it.
Big good for you. There's nothing fucking coming out this year, that's for sure. Yeah, it's a good year to play Pokemon. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
The other thing they announced at this was that the card game is coming to mobile devices, which is pretty cool.
Cute. That's fun. That'll probably make a fucking shit-zillion dollars. Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go. That'll do it for the news.
Wow, I'm actually surprised we got in under 2 hours, or under, just above 2 hours. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we spent so long talking about
Twin Peaks. It's gonna be really bad when Ben also watches Twin Peaks. Because we're just gonna spend. Well, I mean, at that point, once Ben watches Twin Peaks, we're just gonna do it.
We're gonna do the episode.
Yeah, I will say Twin Peaks episode. Yeah.
My final commentary on this is: I know we had a conversation at some point. I forget if it was on the show or if it was in the Discord about the idea of there being a Dale Cooper Fortnite skin. Right.
God, please.
The thing I had to bite my tongue about at the time, which I can say to you, is like the skin would have to include his 2 principal fits from The Return.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I didn't want to tell you what those were.
Absolutely.
Because they're both really important, but I also, I had to leave the mystery for it.
By the way,
go ahead.
Saturn, thank you for the episode title, which will be Dale Cooper Fortnite skin.
Yeah.
Great. That's correct. I still think they should put, even though I know it's like several years late now, I think they should put Laura Palmer in Fortnite because she deserves it.
They should release a Fortnite 3-pack in which it is Dale Cooper, Alan Wake, and Zach from Deadly Premonition.
Well, Alan Wake's already in there.
Yeah, Alan Wake already is in.
Is he in Fortnite?
Yeah, he's already in Fortnite. Yeah.
I thought
that's why we gotta put in Laura Palmer.
No, he's in there. I promise you he's in there. Because they had that Epic exclusivity deal, and they were like, we gotta market Alan Wake by putting Alan Wake in Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't realize, I know he was in Dead by Daylight. I didn't realize he was in Fortnite too.
He's in Fortnite.
Yeah. So obviously Laura Palmer's gotta be like in like the Homecoming queen dress that she's in. Like,
well, she
every
also
time they
needs
show
her red. She also needs her red room dress, the black red room dress.
Of course. She also needs a third one that's just her in a body bag.
I agree, absolutely, in the plastic bag. Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Yep, wrapped in plastic.
Yeah. Just hopping around like she's in like one of those sleeping bags where you like a little caterpillar. Like yeah. Totally.
By the way,
her arm, because the skin has to have arms so that like you can like swing a pickaxe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the arms is just like Bob chasing her, and he's got his arms out like all that.
By the way, Sarah, that is a Sujimon. The guys in the cocoon sleeping bag.
We saw them during the stream.
Yeah, the guys in the
forgot, yeah. Good, absolutely. Just steal that. Just lift that animation wholesale from Yakuza and give it to Laura Palmer. She deserves it.
She deserves it.
Go off, Queen.
One quick final fun thing, because I mentioned that Alan Wake is in Dead by Daylight. He is the only character who canonically escapes from Dead by Daylight, because Dead by Daylight's whole lore is that it is a repeating cycle of getting killed by the monster.
Right.
Like they're trapped in a nightmare world.
Right.
But Alan's trailer implies that his presence in Dead by Daylight is just part of the loop of the dark world.
Great.
So we know
Alan.
he's out.
Eventually he figures it out.
The only problem is that Alan, by nature of being Alan Wake, aka the most confused man on the planet, is not going to have the extremely horny yells that Leon Scott Kennedy has in Dead by
No,
Daylight.
of course not.
No.
Unfortunately.
Tragic.
So sad, folks.
But
So sad.
okay,
get us out of here. This episode has been exceptionally insane for only being 2.5 hours long.
All right, that'll do it. Thank you to DJ Cutman for background music. You can follow us on our various social medias. Join our Discord. Talk to us about Twin Peaks.
Yeah, we're always talking. Currently, we have. I don't know if you three saw it, but I will say is that Shia told me that he's giving in. And he's gonna start watching Twin Peaks next week. So.
Yeah, so we've got you and Megas going through
the return,
the return live watch right now, and then
That's
we're
right.
gonna have Shia and Emil start it soon.
That's
so
right.
if you're someone who's been looking for a social peer pressure to watch all the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me, the prequel movie, and then the 3rd season called The Return. It's currently a really good environment for that.
That's right.
Once I finally finish The Big Swell and Infinite Wealth, I'll start Twin Peaks.
Yes!
Yay!
Yeah!
I'm so excited for you to see where Alan Wake 1 came from, and then later where Alan Wake 2 came from.
Yeah, no, it's great. Please look forward to it. I guess that means we're going to do a Twin Peaks episode this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
shit.
Well, probably multiple Twin Peaks episodes. Cool. Why not? Sure.
All right, that'll do it for all of us, I think. Are we gonna do Fuck
Jim
These
Ryan.
Layoffs every week?
Fuck
I mean,
rich
we
assholes
can be
or
specific. We can give a fuck
Skycast.
Jim Ryan this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we've ever said fuck Jim Ryan specifically. So yeah, we'll do that one this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck Jim Ryan. Go to hell, you piece of shit. Fucking asshole.
Yeah. All right, good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.